الله أكبر. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله سمع الله لمن حمده. الله الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. استغفر الله استغفر الله استغفر الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا وحبيبنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم، صاحب الحوض والشفاعة، صاحب المقام المحمود، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله، وبعد. Alhamdulillah, you are more cricket fans. Alhamdulillah. I thought I'll be sitting alone today with my students. I might see some of the play myself, but is it priority? Look for that afterwards. Yeah. Everybody? Yeah, okay. So before we start, tomorrow will be the 9th of Muharram. Tuesday will be the 10th of Muharram. And Wednesday will be the 11th of Muharram. According to Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah, rahimahullah, he mentions that whoever seeks to fast the 10th of Ashura, the 10th of Muharram, should fast the 9th along with the 10th. This is according to Shaykh al-Islam Ibn rahimahullah from Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal. Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah mentions that there are three rankings when it comes to the fast of Muharram. The highest ranking, the best ranking, is fasting on the 9th, the 10th, and the 11th, 3 days. The second ranking is fasting 2 days, which is the 9th and the 10th. And the third ranking is where you're not able to fast. The 9th or 11th when you fast on the 10th alone. So, according to my calculations, what I've seen, 10th of Muharram is Tuesday. Is that correct? Okay. And the virtues of fasting, from the virtues of fasting, the one who fasts the fast of Ashura will have the sins of the past year forgiven. These are the minor sins. The major sins will be forgiven through sincere istighfar and tawbah, returning back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, raising your hands, seeking His forgiveness, recognizing the sin, making a promise to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Jalla wa ala, that you shall not return back to the sin, and thereafter you strive and you do your utmost best not to return back to the sin. This is tawbah. Istighfar is dhikr, just to say astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah. And even that needs to be said with consciousness. You can't just say astaghfirullah. You need to know what you're saying, why you're saying it. So that will erase minor sins, but major sins through tawbah. So the one who will fast Ashura will have all of his or her minor sins forgiven. And this fast is to remember the victory that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave Musa alayhi salam and his believers over Fir'aun and his men. And this is the main reason of the fast. As was authentically mentioned, when the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was informed that the Jews and some Christians were fasting in Medina Munawwara to recognize this day, the Prophet said, we are closer to Musa alayhi salam, and so in the forthcoming year I will fast 2 days. So he said to the companions, we will fast 2 days, the 9th and the 10th. But the Prophet Muhammad did not live that year. He passed away. He didn't see the next Muharram. So approximately 6 months later, when he made this statement, this hadith as mentioned, Rasulullah he passed away. But the companions would continue fasting the 2 fasts. And so this fast we are performing tomorrow, Tuesday or Wednesday, is to recognize that victory going back to the time of Musa alayhi salam. And from this we learn those who are obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, those who are loyal to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will always have victory. Through patience, steadfastness, through sabr and istiqamah. So as Muslims we have nothing to fear. We've just come out of the season of Ibrahim alayhi salam. The season of Hajj is the season of Ibrahim alayhi salam. Every ritual that is performed in Hajj is to commemorate the life of Ibrahim alayhi salam and his family. So like this, the fast of Muharram is to recognize the victory that was given to Musa alayhi salam over Fir'aun and nothing else. Somebody comes to you and says that this fast is for the death of somebody, may it be somebody from the companions or at the date, they have lied. They have lied. We're not fasting for a companion or a member of the Ahlul Bayt who has left this world. This is a common misconception within our country especially. Many Muslims, especially from the Indo-Pak region, they think they are fasting because of what? Whose death? They believe the fast is to commemorate the death of Al-Husayn radiyallahu anhu. This is wrong. Yes, Karbala is a very important event in our history. We should read. We should educate ourselves from our authentic Sunni sources, and we should leave that fact. It is not our position to go into disputes, to go into arguments, and try to correct the companions who were the most loyal, the closest to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They are the ones who sacrificed everything for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We haven't done anything. Decisions they made, from Abu Bakr radiyallahu anhu, including Muawiyah radiyallahu anhu, they were best qualified to make those decisions. If there were any disputes, they were best qualified to deal with those disputes and differences. We're not saying they weren't. There were some differences. Let's not, turn a blind eye to that. There were differences. There were differences within the companions in the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So we say from our position that they were the companions. They made decisions. They were best qualified to make those decisions. We are not in any position to correct them. We are not in any position to say, oh, Abu Bakr is wrong. We are not in any position to curse the Imams of the Ahlul Bayt or the Shia. There are people who curse the 12 Imams. And I say, have you read that list? Have you gone through the first 4 or 5 Imams? You know who they are? Does anybody know who's the first Imam? Ali radiyallahu anhu. You're sending la'nat on Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's son-in-law, on his cousin brother, on the very child that he raised. This is why Ali, may Allah be pleased with him, was the first child to embrace Islam, because he was raised in the house of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It is mentioned in authentic narrations that Abu Talib was not able to raise all of his children. So he gave Ali, one of the youngest, to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said, I give you Ali to raise. And there was an age gap, a big age gap. I believe Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, approximately 20 years, I could be wrong, don't quote me on this, about 20 years older than Ali radiyallahu anhu. And then also from the Imams are the grandsons. Al-Husayn, the one who Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in public would kiss, and Rasulullah would take his blessed tongue out in public, and Al-Husayn would try to grab Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's tongue. He would play with it. In narrations mentioned that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam would come out to lead the salah. He would have his grandchildren with him. On occasions, he would be picking up Umama radiyallahu anha and be leading the salah, picking up his granddaughter. Imagine if I or Shaykh Siraj al-Islam, we come one of the days with our children or grandchildren and we lead the salah, picking them up. They say, ye kaun sa Maulvi aa gaya? What is this? Your salah is not valid, we can't pray behind you. It is mentioned in one of the narrations. Shaddad mentions, radiyallahu anhu, that once Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam prolonged the prostration. Companion is mentioned, Shaddad radiyallahu anhu. He said, I raised my head to see what had happened. Had something happened to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? He's not getting up from the sajda. I mean, now it is alhamdulillah okay, because if the Imam slightly delays, he start coughing from behind him. Yeah? So he raised his head and he sees that the Prophet's grandson Al-Husayn was on the back in sajda of Rasulullah. Rasulullah refused to get up. So when they asked the Prophet, they said, we thought Quran was being revealed. You thought something happened to you because you prolonged the prostration. And he sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, no, it wasn't. No one put hands on me. I was perfectly fine. It was just that my grandson was on my back and I wanted to get off my back and then I would get off of the sajda. Who was this? Al-Husayn radiyallahu anhu. And as I mentioned a couple of weeks back, when he was beheaded and his head was presented to Ibn Ziyad, and Shimr brought it and presented to Ibn Ziyad. Okay, Yazid was not involved in this. Just let's remove that one misconception. Yazid, though, will take the blame of what happened. In this particular incident, wasn't involved, where the head now is brought to Ibn Ziyad. And Ibn Ziyad with his sword starts poking the face of Al-Husayn. He's been beheaded and he's presented on a tray to Ibn Ziyad. That he has your victory. He has your grandson. So he takes his sword and he starts poking him. And from the back of the masjid, this old man stands up. Very old man. He says, stop! What are you doing? Who are you poking? Who are you stabbing? Do you not know who this is? This is a grandson of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is the very face I saw. I saw with my own eyes Rasulullah would kiss. And who was this old man who stood up at the back of the masjid? Anas ibn Malik radiyallahu anhu. The man who Rasulullah made dua for, may Allah prolong your life, barakah in your life, give you plenty of wealth and children. He was from the last companions to leave this world, from the last. He was given to Rasulullah at the age of 10. His mother presented him, said, "Do you serve?" She said to Rasulullah, "He will serve, he will take care of him." So when the Rasulullah had passed away, he was about 20 years old. This incident I've mentioned now, right? Here, Anas ibn Malik is well over 100 years old. So we are talking approximately 80, 90 years after the death of Rasulullah and his companion still alive. Anas ibn Malik. We mentioned many narrations. So this event is very important in our surah. We should study it, we should understand it, but we leave it with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Every insan, every human will be held accountable for their actions. يَوْمَ يَقُومُ النَّاسُ لِرَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ. Every individual. So we leave it at that. We'll continue with lesson 46. And from the previous lesson, lesson 45, we were talking about how we're meant to trust every matter that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala arranges for us. And as the Salaf al-Salihin would mention, in this dunya, in this world, there is a paradise, there is a Jannah in this world. Anybody who enters this Jannah in this world will get to enter the eternal Jannah as well, the Jannah in the hereafter. Anybody who fails to enter the Jannah of this earth, this world, will not be able to enter the Jannah in Akhirah. And they said this Jannah, if you enter into this world, will take you to the Jannah in the next life, is tawakkul. Is reliance on Allah. When an individual leaves every matter with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when he lives his life, this will take him to Jannah, to be grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, both in good times and bad times. And we said that if there's something you are struggling with in life, if you have a problem, there's a calamity you are struggling with, then we do three things. Number one is we need to identify the problem. You might have many problems in your life, but not all of them can be dealt with. You're struggling to deal with one, let alone 3, 4 problems that you have. So you just identify one problem that you have. Switch up all of your social media, put everything to one side. Make your best wudu ever. pray your best salah, and then make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and say to Allah, this problem I have, I am passing over to you. I don't have the capacity to deal with it, I leave it with you. So this is what you say in your dua. Allah, I leave this matter with you. In the third stage is, you leave it with Allah, and now you wait for the outcome. Whatever the outcome is, whether it works out in your favor or not, this is from Allah, you accept it and you leave it with Allah. Okay. In today's verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned, وَاللَّهُ أَعْلَمُ بِمَا وَضَعَتْ. Allah, and Allah was most knowing of what she delivered. Surah Al-Imran, verse number 36. When the wife of Imran pledged to Allah that she would dedicate the contents of the womb to his service at the sanctuary of Jerusalem in Bayt al-Maqdis, she made a promise to Allah, when I deliver my child, and she was expecting, she made dua for a son, I will give him up to Al-Aqsa, Bayt al-Maqdis, to be raised in the best environment. And the masajids are the best environment. These are the safe places for believers. This is where we come to spiritually connect with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to take a few moments out, to disconnect from the world, come to the masjid, and to connect with Allah. So she made a promise to Allah that I would like a son that I can give up for your servitude. She didn't ask for a son who's going to come to this world and earn plenty of money and make her rich. She didn't ask for a son for that. She didn't ask for a son, Ya Allah, grant me a son so when I become old, my son will take care of me. This is what we do. We ask for sons from Allah so they can make us rich. We can get plenty of good jobs. And then when we're old, they'll take care of us. The duty of taking care of the parents is both son and daughter. Okay, more than the in-laws is the son and daughter. It's first responsibility to them. However, what happened was, instead of her giving birth to a son, instead she gave birth to a daughter. And who was the daughter? Maryam, alayhi salatu wasalam. So now the result she was expecting hasn't happened. However, she still trusted Allah and she fulfilled her pledge to Allah, and she gave up her daughter and she gave her to the masjid. Which is why even now, Allah knows best, there's this chamber which they call the room, the hijab of Maryam alayhi salatu wasalam, where they say this is where she grew up, and her uncle Zakaria alayhi salatu wasalam would go and take her food. That's where she was raised. Allah knows best whether that is the exact location, but we know that she was raised in the masjid. And now look at the results. That she accepted, the wife of Imran, some of the scholars said her name was Hannah, she accepted the results of Allah, she fulfilled her promise, she gave her daughter, she didn't back off, she didn't say, oh, you know, I was expecting a son, so I've got a daughter, I just raised it all myself. No, she fulfilled the promise. She trusted Allah, she gave up her daughter. The daughter was raised in Bayt al-Maqdis and the rest of the story you know. Allah blessed her with a son. So now she gets a grandson who is going to become a prophet from the ulul azm, from the 5 greatest prophets. When you trust Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you will get the best results. And Maryam was very pious. She was the chosen one. She was from the Afdalu Nisa'i al-Jannah. As Rasulullah mentioned, that there are 4 women who are the women of Jannah. Afdalu Nisa'i al-Jannah. And from the 4, it is hadith as mentioned by Ibn Abbas radiyallahu anhuma in the Musnad of Imam Ahmad. Shaykh Al-Albani has rated it authentic. There are 4 women. The first one is Khadija bint Khuwaylid, the wife of Rasulullah. The second one is Fatima bint Imran, the daughter of Rasulullah. The third is Maryam bint Imran. And the fourth one was Asiya bint Mu'ayz. She was the wife of Fir'aun. These 4 women are the best women of Jannah. And each one of them had a trial of many trials in their lives, including if you read this trial, see the stories of Fatima, the many tests that she had. She's a Sayyidat in the Nisa'i, the leader of the women. So anyway, she continued to be grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, loyal to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. She fulfilled her promise to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So from this we learn that when we don't get the results that we expect, we still need to be firm and steadfast and give our best with whatever we have. There's a hadith as mentioned by Anas ibn Malik that once a man came and said to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, regarding having trust in Allah, do I tie the camel and then trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or do I just allow the camel to loose, to walk around and have trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Rasul said, no, of course, you need to tie the camel first and then you have trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So never lose trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Our job is we need to plant a seed, we need to water the seed, and we take care of the plant. We do our best to preserve the plant, protect the plant, to guard the plant, and we should not become obsessed with the fear that what may happen, what may go wrong. As long as we are striving to do our best, the rest will be with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How can we learn to trust Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? I'll finish within 5 minutes. Number one is to stay firm. Educate yourselves. Study the Quran. The Quran is your manual. It is your guide and will help you navigate through life. And you are going to come across many different situations in your life. Very sticky. Somebody difficult. And you don't know what to do. The Quran guides you. But if you haven't studied the Quran, if you've not read the Quran, the translation minimum, you won't know what to do. This is why many people, when things start going wrong in their lives, they take refuge in other things. Some will go into drugs. Because we know many non-Muslims, when they have problems in life, they resort to alcohol. They get drunk, believing that the problem will disappear. For those few moments, whilst the person is intoxicated, he doesn't feel anything, the problem disappears. But when he wakes up in the morning, when he comes to his senses again, the problem is still there. So the problem doesn't disappear. Our Quran, it teaches us. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu bis-sabri was-salati was-sabirin, to seek out in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through patience and salah. The first thing we need to do is stay firm, educate yourselves, understand the Quran. Number two is align your life with the purpose of life. Align your life with the purpose of life. And the purpose of life is وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. So we need to remain intact with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala during both good and bad times. Number three is don't fear what you cannot control. We're not able to control everything. To a certain extent, yes, there will come a time where you lose control. So don't fear what you cannot control. Let me give an example of our children. To a certain age, we're able to control our children. They will do what we say to them. But then they come to the age where they start growing up, then you will see a change in their attitude. When they start to understand things, then they will start talking back to you. They will answer back. They'll become rebellious. You understand? But now is the time to guide them, to talk with them. But now you can't physically control them. They've become as old as you now. They'll stand up to you as well. When they were little, you got away with 3 smacks, the naughty corner. Go in the corner 5 minutes. You can't make a 13, 14-year-old teenager stand in a naughty corner. It's not going to work. So now you have to change your tactics. So remember this. You are not going to control everything in your life. Okay? Number 4 is to remain content. Whatever the result is, good or bad, remain content with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and don't allow outside influence make decisions for you. The people who sadly have, there's a lot of these propaganda videos that go around and people just become, brainwashed, watching these videos. Oh, we need to leave the country. Why? This is happening, that is happening. Things like that, we don't need to go into these things. Trust Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and everything will be fine. Number 5 is establish your dua every single day. Make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for istiqamah, and any problem that you have, return back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put in a problem, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will take care of that problem. And Allah grant istiqamah from what has been said. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين فاستغفروه إنه غفور رحيم. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. جزاكم الله خير. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.